Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to talk about Kriya Yoga and the 4 jhanas. So jhana is a Pali term that is used in Buddhism. And jhana it is derived from the Sanskrit word dhyan, which means meditation. And so really it's 4 meditation stages that are used in Buddhism, in particular practices that support vipassana, preparatory for vipassana, which is an insight practice. And so these 4 stages of jhanas, the 4 jhanas, allow one to be ready for that practice of the insight of vipassana. In particular, these are the rupa jhanas, which are the material jhanas, and seen as these stages to get into deeper meditation. Now, the methodology that is used in Buddhism to bring on the jhanas, because they're not just, you don't just step into them, is something called anapanasati, which is basically a mindfulness type of breathing. And it's a simple breathing practice that is taught in many different Buddhist, disciplines and so on, where you just follow the breath. And you use that as a meditation object to start to create this concentration. So in the first jhana, one experiences pleasurable body sensations, which is called piti, and arising from those pleasurable body sensations, the sukha, which is a feeling of joy. And so in this first jhana, one is experiencing the jhana when one starts to get those feelings. Normally in Buddhist meditation, you will have a meditation object, for instance, following the breath as this anapanasati. And when you are established in that practice, you shift your awareness to the sensations in the body, this pleasurable sensation in the body, this piti, and then sukha, this joy, which exudes from the piti, the feelings in the body. And what happens then is there's a shift away from outer experiences of the world to more this internal shift in the body. And so the thoughts can be present in your awareness, but they're quiet in the background. And so in Kriya Yoga, we experience something similar. In Kriya, we use something called Kriya pranayama, this form of intentional breathing, which brings about a response in the body, pratyahara in yoga. And this pratyahara is really about engaging the parasympathetic nervous system. And when you engage the parasympathetic nervous system with the Kriya pranayama, then what happens is you start to get signs of the freeze response in the body. So the Kriya pranayama works on the body's central nervous system. It stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, what could be considered the brake of the nervous system. And it will stimulate the medulla oblongata and the brainstem to slow down the heart rate. And at the same time you're slowing your breath rate down and your heart rate down, you start to get into this internalized state. And you start to manifest signs in the body that your parasympathetic nervous system is becoming predominant, what we call the freeze response. So the body will start to feel tingling around. So you may feel your hands are hot and heavy, right? You can have pulsations in your body, tingling up and down your spine, tingling throughout the body. These are signs of piti, right? So the piti is really the freeze response, the galvanic skin response when your parasympathetic nervous system is predominant. And you start to experience that. And it can come on initially a little bit, and then it can become quite strong. And in Buddhist practices, they've talked about piti as becoming, it can be gradual, it can be in different places of the body, or it can envelop the entire body so that you feel this very strong tingling sensations that can be pleasurable and then can be very intense. And so it's the same thing in Kriya Yoga. Once you start to do pranayama to induce pratyahara, the internalization, you start to get the feelings in the body, these pleasurable sensations. As well in Kriya, resulting from this bodily experience of this, buzzing, this body buzz that happens, you can start to experience these feelings of joy that exude from that. And so really that is the sukha that is coming out. So in Kriya Yoga, we're mirroring what is happening in those jhanas, in the 4 jhanas as well. Because the body is universal with human beings, right? We all have the same nervous system. We're going to get the similar types of responses of the body to particular types of meditation practices. So in the first jhana, the piti, the experience of the sort of bliss or buzz in the body, is predominant over the sukha, over the joy. So you feel that experience in your body first. In the second jhana, it's the reverse. So what you start to feel is the buzzing sensations of the body, the piti, start to recede into the background, and the joy starts to manifest in predominance. So it is a flip, basically, of those two dynamics of the piti and the sukha. And what happens then is you get this real kind of concentration, equanimity in your mind. You get very still inside. And what can then happen is the thoughts that are in the background just disperse, like clouds that have been dispersed in the sky with a high pressure, ridge coming in, that you get this clearing, basically. And in Kriya Yoga, we see something similar. As we get deeper into pratyahara, we start to get the experience of the freeze response of the bodily sensations starting to recede a bit, and the joy coming up more, right? The awareness that we're becoming more concentrated internally, that we're becoming more aware of our original nature. Now in the third jhana, the piti basically recedes entirely, so one is not even aware of it. And the sukha starts to manifest from joy and starts to move into contentment. So one feels very content inside. The thoughts are very quiet. There is an equanimity of one's consciousness, and one is very still. In Kriya Yoga, we see this happening when one starts to approach dharana. Dharana is the concentration on an internalized void. This normally happens after the tranquil breath, and the tranquil breath happens where the breath starts to shallow out involuntarily and just disappears. And one is in the tranquil breath, what is sometimes called the breathless state. What happens from there in Kriya Yoga is one is drawn into this internalized void. So the sense of the body completely disappears from one's awareness, and one is deeply internalized. One is content because one is in this state of stillness inside. It's this state of potential of going into a very deep meditation. So the awareness of the body is no longer there. Sensations of bliss are not really there. It's a transitional state into a deeper meditation. In the fourth jhana, there is this quiet stillness inside where one lets go of the pleasure of the third jhana and moves into this equanimity state, this state of quiet stillness. And in Kriya Yoga, this is where the dharana deepens, this internalized void perception increases as a preparation for going into absorption, into true dhyan, true meditation. And really this dharana is a jumping off point into deeper meditative states. So as you can see, there are similarities between the four material jhanas, the four rupa jhanas, and the process in Kriya Yoga. If you have any questions about this video, feel free to send me an email at info@modernkriya.com. Also check our website at modernkriya.com and our YouTube channel. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.